It's been a minute. I have been out. I have been sick, but I feel compelled to come on here and give you guys a little story time about how God rescued me from a disastrous situation and a person with evil intentions. And it was around the time I was in high school, and I lived in this residential home. I think I talked about it, but if I didn't, I did live in a residential home through my high school years, and I would come home on the weekend, so kind of like a boarding school situation. And I remember I was coming home, and it was like daylight savings, so it got pretty dark outside really quickly. And I think it was, it was still kind of early. Anyway, I remember waiting on the train, going home from where I would normally, and it was very vacant. There wasn't a lot of people around, if I don't think anyone at the time, and I was waiting there, and the train was, I think, not arriving yet. I think maybe 5 minutes to 6 minutes away, and I'm just standing there. I got my bag, I got everything, I got ready to go home, right? So I'm waiting there, and there was um, the track was double sided. So I'm standing on one side of the track, and I'm looking at the other side, and there's no one there, right? It's pretty vacant, and out of nowhere comes this man, and he looked very just vicious in the eyes. That first thing I noticed about him was his eyes. And there was something about his eyes that told me he was up to no good. The way he looked at me. And again, I'm just there, I'm by myself. And I remember him staring at me from across the tracks. He's on one side, I'm on another. And I can remember him talking to me. And I can't remember the first thing he said, but one thing that would always stick to me was that he was asking me questions about who or where I was going. It was very uncomfortable. He was very, very, what's the word? He was just determined to lure me, right? Um, anyway, I knew better to stand where I was, but in my heart, beating outside of my chest, I just felt terrified, and I'm trying to think 10 steps ahead. So he's talking to me, he's giving me like compliments, and he's asking me if I have a boyfriend. And this is a grown man, by the way. Um, and he had no business even speaking to me. And he could tell I was young because, like I said, I probably was around a freshman at this time. But, it was very uncomfortable. And I remember, like, in my head, I'm like, Lord, what am I going to do? Lord, what am I going to do? And I'm standing there in fear. And I'm answering him back because I'm afraid not to, because he's so persistent. And it's just question after question coming towards me back to back. And this man is standing there, right? And I'm looking. And he's out of nowhere, he starts walking towards where I'm at, right? And so now I'm extremely scared, and I don't want to run because I figure if I run, he'll chase me. And I don't want to make him think that I'm nervous in any way. I stood very still, and I seemed like I was very comfortable. My thought was, don't let him know that you're afraid. Don't let him think that he's got you in any place that he wants you, right? So my thing was to stay calm. And all while I'm still talking to God and praying in my head towards the Lord, right? And still in fear of this man coming up towards me and not knowing his intentions. I don't know if he's got a gun. I don't know if he's going to try and grab me. I don't know where to run to if he's, after me. There's still pretty much a big distance between him and the track. And out of nowhere, guys, the train comes. I didn't even see it approach. I didn't hear a whistle. This train came out of nowhere, and it just zooms past between me and the guy, and I'm able to board the train. And I'm looking, it was like a miracle. Like, I don't know how to explain it. you know how you can see a train coming and you have time to get to the other side before it crosses? You hear the whistle, you know that it's coming, it gives you warning. This train did not have any of that. It came out of nowhere. Out of nowhere, this train just arrives, and I immediately board it. And I'm just like, I'm thanking God that this train is here, that I'm about to get out of this place. This man is up to no good. I don't know his intentions. I don't know what he was going to try to do. I was so grateful. And it's just like, I don't know what made this story come to my head, but I just wanted to share it because it just reminded me how faithful God is and how good he is to us. You know, and I'm not saying that I've never experienced detrimental situations, but I knew that that was an act of God immediately. That train showing up out of nowhere without warning or whatever. I like it. It was arriving. I knew that, but the train still had some time to get to where it was supposed to get to, and so I don't think it's coincidence. I know that God was with me that day, and I don't know that man's intentions. I don't know what he was gonna try and do. I'm just grateful that what could have been wasn't. And I just wanted to share that he is still faithful and he is still dependable and he is still reliable. And, you know, things happen sometimes we don't always understand, but God is still showing up in the midst of every painful event, every unfortunate situation. He is still a dependable God. And I guess this is a testimonial to that. And just me giving God more praise because as I reflect on terrible things that could have happened in my life, I realize how much God's hand has been on me the whole time. So, you know, it helps when you're going through it sometimes and you think like, man, like it's been a crazy time, you know, this is falling through. Sometimes we have to remember what God has brought us through to, you know, really look back and see like, yeah, God has protected me all this time. He still has me. He's still with me. He's still protecting me, loving me, and his grace is still sufficient. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that, y'all. I pray that this blessed someone. Um, yeah, love you guys. Stay blessed.